The 75th book that I read in 2024 is Kelly Gallagher's Readicide: How Schools Are Killing Reading and What You Can Do About It. This title would not appeal to me by just about any other author other than Kelly Gallagher, but I have such trust in Kelly Gallagher and what Kelly Gallagher does for reading in his classroom and around the country that it made me want to read this. And of course, he's not blaming teachers for killing reading. He is blaming other things, primarily standardized testing and the idea at No Child Left Behind, and the idea that we needed to teach to the test. And so novels exited the curriculum and short passages entered the curriculum because that was more what students would see on a standardized test. They would see short passages. They of course wouldn't see novels or even short stories on a standardized test. This is an absolutely wonderful book. This is the second book that Gallagher wrote, and I read 180 Days before I read this book. And basically 180 Days takes everything in Readicide and shows it to you in action. So I kind of read them in reverse. A lot of what I was reading in Readicide is redundant if you've read 180 Days. But again, Readicide gets applied in 180 Days. Plus there's Penny Little, who also co-authored 180 Days. And so I do highly recommend this book. But if you haven't read 180 Days, read Readicide first and then read 180 Days second. There's so much to glean from this. It makes me a little sad because since 2016, it's been so hard to find novels that we can do with our classes, and there's more of a police attitude toward what books students can read on their own. So for example, in my school, I am not allowed to let kids I can let kids go to the library and pick out a book, but I can't demand kids go to the library and pick out a book because it might not be a book that I've read, and therefore I don't know what they're reading. That kills reading so much. It kills the fun part of reading. I can still assign books in classes and do them as a whole with the class, but allowing students to choose their own novels has become increasingly difficult in the last 8 years with so many book bannings. And at my school, we've taken books out of the curriculum because they just pose problems that they didn't used to pose. Problems that, in my opinion, aren't problems, but problems that cause my administrators problems. And I completely understand where they're coming from. Sometimes it's easier to fight other battles, and you have to prioritize what you want to do. But that's a big part of Readicide. In Gallagher's classroom, every student is reading 2 books at the same time. They're reading a book that they chose to read, and they're reading a book that Gallagher chose for them to read. And just so many great ideas about reading, and so many great ideas how we can prevent reading from going away. And also, it dispels myths such as kids can't read for prolonged periods of time anymore, or social media has ruined the way that kids read and they just have no desire to read novels anymore. And Gallagher completely disagrees with that, as do I. Kids want to read. They do read. They read long novels. They just want to read things that entertain them. And frankly, I wouldn't want to read something that doesn't entertain me. I don't teach books to my students that I don't like. I try to teach books that both I like and I think my students will like too, but I don't go out of my way to choose books that I don't like to teach. And so Gallagher just thinks that if we give kids the right books, they will read them and they will learn from them. He really trashes No Child Left Behind and makes a huge case for the steps backward that we took during No Child Left Behind, that we left more children behind as a result of NCLB. Really, really great book. I made it sound a little bit more political than it is. It's really not political except when it comes to No Child Left Behind. And really good book. If you want some ideas on how to get kids reading, Readicide and then 180 Days after Readicide are great choices.